Hi and welcome to Dynamics Update. We are in the midst of summer and we are doing, I would guess it's our final recording before the summer holidays. And as usual, I have Gustav with me. Hi, Gustav.
Hi, Johan. Yeah, I think so too. Unless one of us thinks of something and calls the other one in the middle of Swedish summer. Who
Could be.
knows?
Has
Could
happened
be.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this time we actually have a return guest with us. We talked to Jinnie. We tried to figure out how long it was ago.
It was published a year ago. I think it was recorded a little bit earlier than that, but let's say about a year ago.
Yeah. So Jinnie, you are back. Please introduce yourself and your team.
Right. Johan and Gustav, thank you so much for the introduction back and an invitation actually back to talk about BPA. This time I actually have more people on the team. I'm super excited to introduce my colleagues Yaswant Vishwakarma and Weizhu. Yaswant actually is leading up all our pipeline efforts to make BPA more reliable, faster, more frequent refreshes, as well as working on some key features for BPA. His addition to the team has been transformative, I would say. So I consider him my partner in crime for a lot of things. And then Wei also has brought some really key improvements to BPA. We're super excited to talk about our Analytics MCP server and the capabilities that come with that just make BPA not just a reporting and analytics tool, but to be able to give us insights and on our data and be able to report on data in ways that we never considered possible in the past. So a lot of new things that have happened. We're looking forward to the upcoming year as well as we release more models. But that's the introduction for now.
Yes, that's good. So I thought we'd start off with just a brief recap on what's actually been going on with the product since you were here last.
There were some. Good. Yeah. So I think the last time I was on was about probably a year and a half ago, and we had just released Record to Report and Procure to Pay, and I believe we were on the cusp of releasing Order to Cash. So since then, what's happened is BPA's data model has expanded across the entire ERP. So we've completed the modeling across the ERP, which means that over the next year, like over the remaining left of this year into the beginning of next year, we hope to release models around supply chain management, project operations, human resources, as well as commerce. We've also continued to refine our extensibility capabilities. You can now, as always, but you can extend the BPA data model into Fabric, right? Which is, I think, one of our biggest, most exciting features to be able to create a unified data model in any company, in any scenario. In addition to that, on top of all of this, then with agents and AI this year, we also released in January of this year, we went to private preview on the Analytics MCP, which is, I'll let Wei talk about that more, but the Analytics MCP is the MCP server built on top of the BPA semantic model.
That's very cool. I mean, it's really been a lot of achievements. I remember first time seeing BPA, and I think it was Dynamics Minds. I saw it live a couple of years back, right? And it's really been refreshing to see how you guys have started to cover, as you say, all of the business processes within Dynamics. Not only it started out very finance oriented, right? So, but now, and I think that's worth mentioning again that a lot of people that might just think of BPA as a MR replacement, or it does a lot more, right? It covers a lot of the business processes, including, as you mentioned, commerce and sales. So BPA is not only to replace your financial reporting. It's to actually, it's in the name actually, business performance, right? Not only financial.
Yeah, correct. That's the full intention. And one thing to just remember on BPA, and I think this gets missed a lot, is that BPA fact tables are at the transaction level. So the level of analytics that you get out of it and the insights you get out of it are pretty deep.
I mean, isn't that sort of a frustration for you guys that most of the work on BPA is actually done way under the hood? So it's like the reports that everyone sees, it's like, okay, they are reports, but the real work is sort of
the magic, under the hood.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it is, and let me be Yashwant, if you want to come off of mute and start talking about some of the pipeline improvements that we're doing, but the fact that we're able to give customers this level of detail is what is going to be a game differentiator that differentiates Dynamics 365 from other products as well. Because I don't believe a model like ours exists anywhere else. So maybe a bold statement, but
No, but that's actually one of the things that I like is that when it comes to the analytics tracks, before everything has to be created, it had to be built. You have to build the pipelines, you have to build the model. And everyone did it slightly differently. And that's what I really like about BPA is that you actually provide a model which is like it's not the analytics people might think that it's a bit like we want to do this ourselves, but just the fact that you have the same model for every customer is a big thing, I would say, because then all of a sudden there you can actually have partners building on top of that model, meaning that you don't have to start from scratch again.
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think the level of maturity in the model and the Power BI reports is actually far beyond. Hard to say, but many clients I've been at are not at that level of maturity because a lot of people they struggle with data pipelines, they struggle with data engineering, getting the data out, and here we have a really like a one-stop shop for reporting based off Dynamics data. So I think definitely what you said as well, the model opens up a lot. Coming into clients that already have BI capacities, you can actually use the model as well to leverage and gain understanding of the very complex data model of Dynamics, the highly normalized data with thousands of tables and thousands of views. Even if you're not using BPA, I end up, and we talked about this earlier as well, I end up in a lot of situations where I have to explain how Dynamics data model works. And I lean heavily nowadays into both the MCP for actually asking about relational models, as well as the model itself and the guide to the tables, because then it makes life easier for me if I can just show my BI guys and girls, here's the model, here's the map, here's the PBIX file, look at that one, and then we can have a talk about relations, so I don't need to start from scratch. So it's also another benefit of BPA, like the map to the highly complex data model of Dynamics.
And a couple of things which we also take care of while we are doing the modeling processes, right? We, like Jinnie mentioned, we follow the lowest grain possible combination for each of the fact tables so that the aggregation can happen at the Power BI level, right? So if you want to actually report on daily data, the grain is available to you. But if you want to aggregate and look at how my yearly performance is, the grain is available to you. And like so you mentioned, right, the pipeline part of it. Now, modeling is one aspect, right? We have to go ahead and build the dimensional model, build the star schema, then conform it with all the dimensions and facts you have so that it can be easily used within Power BI. The pipeline that processes the volume of data, which varies by customer, we actually take care of that too. Yeah. So there might be a customer who is only bringing 1 million rows in a specific fact table, but then there are customers who are bringing 100 million rows in a fact table. So the transform pipelines which we are writing are highly optimized as well. And we maintain this during upgrades, right? If your data volume grows, the pipeline will automatically adjust so that it's able to, reliably process that data. So there is a lot of data engineering complexity also hidden behind the layers.
Yeah, that's what Johan mentioned as well, right? Johan and me are both very technical, right? So we think all the cool stuff lives underneath the hood, whereas a lot of other people might say that the reports are very nice and the insights gained from those reports are the key thing, and that they are right. But I think we are also right saying that a lot of the magic happens underneath the pipelines. It's data as a service, as you pronounce it as well, right? That's a lot of that complexity can be very expensive when you build it on your own, expensive and hard to maintain. And there are many scenarios where you have both, right? So you have data as a service for the Dynamics data, but then you also have your BI pipeline. So I think that's a lot, given that what you mentioned, Jinnie, publishing the model through Fabric, that really ties that together. So you can connect both dots. You can have your own data warehouse, but you can also connect the model to it. It's not, they're not canceling each other out. I think that's worth mentioning as well.
Okay. A couple of the features that we have coming, that currently in private preview is custom measures, right? So you can create custom measures within BPA and publish it to your model, right? And what we're going to come up with by the end of this year is being able to also bring in custom tables, right? So now when you think about it, it's like you're building your unified model within BPA. Your MCP now sits on top of that model. And so now your insights are not just FNO data, but FNO data plus external data. Now, you can do that same thing in Fabric today, of course, right? You can bring your data into Fabric. You can extend the model there. And then you can use a Fabric agent on top of that as well. So there's so many capabilities. I'm super excited. I'm going to turn it over to Wei for a second, just to maybe give us a little bit of a insight into what is capable within MCP and the work that he's been doing around it, if that's okay.
Yes, absolutely. And these days we are actually just looking at page 0 for what MCP can unlock for us. Just when talking to customers, I see very consistently the struggle of balancing a very dynamic, day-to-day changing business need versus a static reporting flow. And that's been quite tricky until we have suddenly the AI agentic capabilities. So MCP is that layer that unlocks that capability of enabling customers to go from a CFO question, how is our business doing today, to quickly being able to show results, show insights through a conversational flow. And all of that is rooted very deeply in BPA with BPA's reporting capabilities. So one of the things that when I first joined the team, I find myself spending days and weeks just kind of figuring out is, what does everything mean? What does everything mean? Like, for example, what is purchase line? What is an invoice line? How is the things different? How are they connected under the hood? And very quickly, I found myself just trying to navigate across 200 different tables, trying to figure out what is what and what does everything mean. BPA solves that, right, by rolling everything up to a dimensional model, and MCP takes that one step further by giving all of those knowledge to an agent. And suddenly the magic happens when I ask my agent, could you build me a P&L report, a profit and loss report, and tell me what you have just reason through, why did you make certain decisions, what entities do you use, what does it all mean for me? Suddenly that puts myself not in the builder's seat, but more in the driver's seat, where I can, through a conversational flow, iterate on that report and spend more time thinking through what each number means instead of thinking through the plumbing side of things. So that's kind of the magical moment. Is really more about the ergonomics of building reports and getting from questions to answers more quickly, other than having to worry about the plumbing side of things, the more kind of
Exactly, gaining the insights. And as I said, I used to say you should not spend 80% of your time building data engineering. You should spend 80% of your time building insights and building reports, and maybe 20% of your time managing the pipeline. Sorry, Yaswant, but I think that's what everyone wants, right? They want to build the reports, they want to gain the insights. They don't want to spend that time managing broken ETL pipelines, broken data flows. They want to just jump straight to the insights. So very much on top of what you said there, Wei. And I think also the process-centric focus here that is so key, like understanding, not only looking at, as you said, sales line. Everyone can do an aggregate of sales line. We can getting to understand the actual life cycle of a sales order. I actually asked the Analytics MCP that. It was able to tell me very nicely about the life cycle of a sales order in a dynamics context, which is very helpful for BI engineers, for anyone trying to understand, because there's a lot of data involved, right? But also understanding open order, pick list, or everything that happens, right, that might affect an order. I think the MCP or the MCP server was actually pretty good at explaining that and visualizing it on a level that anyone not an expert in dynamics can understand it. So that's another good insight.
Absolutely. And people can through that action, right, can get very creative. Basically, the old process used to be entirely dependent on BI engineers, right, data engineers connecting all the pieces, and that process process cycle can take days or weeks from an answer to a business need to spec it out to actually building a dashboard and getting back to the CFO and get the feedback from the CFO to do another round of iteration.
Yeah.
That process is very draining. Now the feedback loop becomes very tight, and you can iterate multiple times, even within a day, within a few hours, and get to a more kind of polished state and answer questions in a more insightful way.
Definitely, and everyone will. I mean, it's not new anymore, right? It's something new every day. But the interaction with our systems that used to be UI driven will definitely be agent or interaction driven in a different way. Give it like just a couple of weeks with the pace this is going, but maybe honestly, realistically, 2, 3, 4 years time, then the natural way to interface with the system will be more prompt driven, I think, rather than UI driven, at least for anyone out of legacy systems. So that's a natural direction to go, I think, with some constraints and guardrails and security roles on top of that, of course, because that's the other key of the balance, right? Being able to control what the agent or the MCP server can actually relay back to you.
Yes, that actually reminds me. There's to your point, the 80-20 divide, right? We also hit 80% of that complexity under the hood. For example, role level security. Right? So BPA MCP follows a very tight architecture around role level security. So your procurement manager will never see the same data from your sales manager, for example. I'm kind of making up terminologies, but essentially every role of data is tightly controlled by the user's access, their scope of access, and etc.
Yeah, and right now that is still configured within BPA, right? So you can have a different security setup in Dynamics than you have in BPA, which is both a feature and maybe a question. Are there any plans to kind of integrate those two, or at least to make it I know there are ways to use Power Automate and use Entra groups to kind of try to get these working together. But do you guys have any plans forward looking, like integrating the Dynamics roles, or is it, okay.
Yeah, what we want to do with the security model in future is, right, we want to actually give you ability to import all the security models you have set up in source systems like FNO. So if you set it up there, you import it, then customize it so that it's aligned. Because what happens is, right, users are saying, hey, I have like 200 legal entities. If I have to go ahead and add use 200 users from 200 legal entities manually one by one, it's way too much time consuming. And I want simplicity in the application. So yes, we are definitely thinking about that to do in future.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but just to add to what Wei is doing, right? Wei is building the Analytics MCP server now. Now, once the Analytics MCP server is out there, you would also need more frequent data to it, right? The more refreshed data is available within BPS environment, you'll be able to, generate more powerful insights. So very soon, I would say sometime in August this year, you will see that BPA will support more frequent data refreshes. You'll be able to have, we will actually increase the frequent data refresh capacity, as well as give you manual refresh options. So if you put, for example, you're working towards month-end closing scenarios, right? I want to refresh some of the transactions which I just posted in my FNO. I want to bring them to BPA immediately. What I'll have to do is go to BPA UI, click something like a manual refresh button, and will refresh the data.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense as well, right? Especially the manually one during monthly closing or yearly closing, or like these peak moments where you really expect the data. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so we are working through it. We are enhancing the pipeline. We are making sure the data is refreshed very frequently. The security is still tightly integrated, so the MCP server only serves you what data you need. And then we are also working on actually increasing the scale. Like I've seen customers who are bringing a lot of data volume within BPS environment. So what we are doing is we are taking multiple optimization steps so that we are able to actually, go ahead and support whatever volume is ingested within BPS environment. So whatever FNO offers, we will be actually able to go ahead and support it with BPA.
Yeah.
So that's our long-term plan.
Very cool. I mean, there is a limit though, right? There is a 8-quarter, basically 2-year limit of data currently that you can have. And I mean, it makes sense from a real-time reporting capability. But is there any clear what you should do with other years, like the archiving story of older data in BPA? Is that something that you guys cover as well?
Yeah, so what we are actively working on is we want to plan and increase that limit to 7 years. Like based on our conversations with customers, right? Customers are typically looking out for 7 years worth of history within BPA, right? So, but in order to get there, first I have to increase the platform capabilities, make sure BPA is able to support and handle that much volume, right? Our transforms are able to push that data through. And also something like, okay, once I have 7 years worth of history, there should be a mechanism where archival automatically takes place as my years move forward, right? So we are thinking about that capacity, capabilities as well. We'll be slowly increasing the capacity. When BPA was launched, we actually started with A3 or A4 SKUs, and then you can correct me here, right? But now we are using A6 SKUs, and also we are using certain F1024 SKUs. So we have already bumped up the capacity we support within BPA, and we'll keep investing so that we are able to support higher and higher data volume within BPA's environment.
Yeah, you guys must have some kind of worst case customers. I know you can't name them, right? I'm just saying that you guys must have some like worst case customers who are like, oh, again, like 10 terabytes of data, really?
I love those customers, to be very honest, right? Because they give me a new goal.
Of course,
here's a new goal. Go ahead and try this out, right? So
yeah, of course. And that keeps driving it forward. Not only agents drive us forward, customers with a lot of data also drive us forward.
Yeah, and different data scenarios too, right? Like, we're just not talking about finance data, but eventually we're looking at inventory warehousing, near real-time scenarios, or commerce data where you're looking at POS transactions.
Yeah.
So we're considering all of those as well, and the mass of data that will bring in. So that's what keeps Yaswant up at night.
I would imagine. No, but then also it drives from a maintainability perspective. That I think that archiving story, 7 years is a common like legal need to save data, but for commerce, sales analytics, normally what you need is just the last year to be able to do comparisons. So I would guess there needs to be some flexibility there as well for the cost management for customers, because you might not want to have 7 years of data in your Dataverse where you pay for the data really. So leveraging that fabric model and the possibility to archive, I think is a very good way to go.
Yeah, and we will also actually give some of these controls to the customers itself. Right? Not all the customers are asking for 7 years worth of history.
And of course.
Keep that in mind. If you ingest history, you're paying for storage, right?
Exactly.
So it doesn't free, right? So we'll build capabilities where the customers can log into BPA environment and say, hey, I want 2 years worth of data versus 7 years worth of data. So it's more customer empowerment, right? Whoever is the application user, they can go ahead and decide what they want to do with the application.
So, Jinnie, is anyone regretting the choice to include all of this in the finance license, or is that still? I know it's still included, right? And that seems like a very nice thing that it's already included in your finance license. You pay for storage, of course, like compute, but still, it's not a separate product, right?
I mean, the goal of BPA is to be the analytics layer of F&O, right? So it does have to be included in your finance license. So no regrets there. I think the challenge now going forward is, how do we maintain the volume and make it a good experience for our customers so that they're not paying a ton of money for it. Also on the refreshes, right? So the refreshes that cost money. And so Yaswant was able to work it so that we can offer at least these 6 refreshes and give the customers, as part of their finance license, some flexibility around refreshes. But then when we go beyond that number, eventually we'll go to enable 24 refreshes a day, and so maybe there will be costs associated with that, and so we will have to figure that out.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, a lot of customers, I'm guessing, are way sufficient with the data that we have today, right? So it's very different. You guys, I think, have the full story there of the full width of different customer setups and data. And I think you do as well, Johan. We have a couple of clients that have very varying data needs, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there is a big discussion around storage and about storage optimization. So I think this is a really important one too. But as to your point, Jinnie, I think it's so much of an infrastructural product, so it wouldn't make sense to make it like an extra add-on.
No,
because it's sort of a best practice play rather than like a feature thing.
Yeah, now from a financial reporting perspective as well, right? I mean, it looks to me that the place to go to do financial reporting would be BPA, even if there are some maybe financial reports. I don't know all the regulatory compliance ones, right? But still, it seems that that's the direction to go, and that's the main point. To not spin up BPA.
Correct. Yeah, and like financial reporting currently, I'll say this because this is a question that we get asked a lot. There are no immediate plans to deprecate financial reporting, but BPA is the natural next step, right, for financial reporting. And if you think about what financial reporting typically entails, in addition to being able to report financially, you always have to be able to validate your numbers, right?
Yeah.
And so having that data come from the single source where you can not only publish financials, but then also go back and validate every single number on there and be able to do your backup paperwork and stuff from there, and your supporting documents is also very powerful.
Yeah. No, definitely. And there's a whole picture of, electronic reporting also needs to come in there for like formal reporting. So there's a lot of different tools in the Dynamics suite, right? It's just financial and analytics. And the point I think we made in the beginning here as well is that it's not only financial reporting, right? It's a lot of it covers a lot of the other sales and purchasing, and it ties this together in the model. I think that's the nicest part, to be able to show people like, this is how you actually can do it. People have spent years trying to build their own BI or data model or star schema, or call it what you want, based off like nearly identical data anyway. The most ERPs look the same. We have sales orders, we have a lot of things. So here's something that you can just download the PBIX file and have a look at it. So that's to me, being an old data engineer, that's kind of the biggest, definitely the biggest deal with BPA. But I get that some people are more interested in other stuff.
Yeah, and I'll give you one example. I had a customer last week who they've specifically been using BPA for their revenue team to be able to report off of revenue.
Yeah.
Then they had a scenario where they needed to reconcile revenue back into the general ledger and then also get some external source source data for the revenue to get further detail, right? So because BPA has already got a model that's already composed across value chains, right? We've got GL to sales tied together. They were able to really quickly be able to do that and reconcile. And for them, it was quite a game changer, because in the past, what it would have required is building a separate cube,
Yeah.
right? And then trying to figure out those tables. And so having this scenario built out for them already, and then them realizing like, wow, this is pretty powerful. What else can we do with it? Was a good win for them.
Definitely. No, I think that's really cool. I have stumbled upon so many different cubes, and I've been in so many different meetings where I have to explain and help all the data engineers on the other side. And that you guys have saved a lot of hours for me, at least. So thank you for that. And I think that's exactly that point: exploring those capabilities, which are not only financial. And then to your point, Wei, the MCP server capabilities here, and it's still in preview, right? When is planned for GA?
We're working towards it, aiming for second half of this year, which is actually coming up soon. So right now, behind the scenes, we're working very diligently towards really tightening up the performance issues, making sure that errors are thrown correctly, handled correctly, all of that fun engineering stuff, and also evals is the one thing that we're consistently spending the most amount of time in. Because if we make a 0.1% error on a multi-million-dollar deal, it's a huge cost.
Definitely.
Right? So we got to make sure that everything is airtight, bulletproof. So yeah, right now the team is actually building a golden record of eval datasets that runs on a weekly basis to check and recheck against every surface area.
Very cool. Yeah, I use it a lot. I published it, as I mentioned, to my team or a couple of colleagues who happen to be data engineers. So we published they can use it in VS Code and Visual Studio. And again, it takes away a lot of my work. So even if it's in preview, I would recommend anyone to start using it, because it's super easy. If you have your data, it doesn't even have to be production if it's just understanding the data model. But it's really it's worth trying out and really putting it through its paces. So I really love it.
Absolutely.
Yes. So going forward, what is there anything interesting on the roadmap that's coming up more than the things that we have discussed, or is there anywhere where you can point people if they want to dig into BPA more than they have already?
Okay. I'm gonna let Yaswant and Wei go first, and then I'll recap.
Yeah, so the most exciting feature we are working for and the most requested feature is the frequent data refresh capability, because it was holding up the customers from using the reports towards the month and using the application towards month end reporting processes, right? So we are looking forward to release this as soon as possible. Once this is out, we'll work on other features. We will give more controls to the end users, but that's one way. But if you want to stay updated, Jinnie hosts every week office hour. It's on every Tuesday 8 a.m. So you can connect with the way me, myself, Jinnie, and the rest of the engineering groups over there in the office hours. We do host a monthly cab. That's the last Thursday of every month. And we have a very active viewer community, viewer engaged community as well, right? So you can actually go ahead and ask questions over there. We regularly keep posting that. So if you have even a simple question, go ahead and post on viewer engage. That's the best and quickest way to connect with us. So, and Jinnie, anything else you would like to?
Sure. I'm gonna let Wei go first, and then I'll add on the recap.
Yeah, on the MCP side, the bigger story is agentic analytics. Right? So the team is actually looking into integrating MCP, analytics MCP into the general agentic ecosystem. Right now, we have already done the Copilot Studio connection, and the VS Code is also natively available. And upcoming, we are looking into integrating into Cowork and Cloud Pilot, which are both very exciting use cases. And beyond that, just general kind of ecosystem integration. Wherever people find MCP useful, we're going to be there. The whole story is again is ergonomics, right? My analogy into all of this is vacuum machines, right? The old vacuum machine, we have to lug around a huge cord. So basically, vacuuming the floor is 80% cord management and 20% vacuuming. Now with MCP, we're unplugging that cord. So my favorite product is Dyson, the vacuum, the cord-free vacuum machine. Right? Suddenly, I find myself, without a cord, I'm vacuuming a lot more because because we got rid of that cord, and that ergonomics change is the biggest unlock.
Yeah.
I hope MCP is the same thing. With MCP, we don't have to lug around a huge reporting layer. A huge UX layer everywhere. We want to build a report. So wherever work needs to happen, MCP or analytics MCP should just be there. So whether that's Cowork, VS Code, Copilot, or any other agent interface that you like to use MCP in, we're looking to build integration there natively.
Well, just like on the roadmap, right? Just to touch like what Yaswant said, more frequent refreshes is something we definitely want to get out this year. Custom measures is something we want to get out this year for sure. The other one is being able to support the volume and the capacity, right? More volume for our customers. The extended data model. And so one thing I'm inviting customers to do right now is that since we've got the models modeled, they're designed for, even though we haven't rolled them out yet. If a customer is building a warehouse, right, and they have a scenario, talk to us because we'll share with you what our designs are. And that way you can build your warehouse to prepare for what's coming out with BPA so you can fully leverage BPA in the future.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things we want to do. And in addition to that, the custom measures, custom columns is something that we're hoping to also roll out this year as well. So there's a lot of exciting things that are coming around. It's just a matter of getting there and getting there. But we're super excited. We've got great support behind BPA. We've got a good set of customers using BPA and that have been trying and leveraging the many capabilities of BPA. So it's been a long journey, but we're really excited for what's coming up.
Very cool. Thank you for those final words for this conversation. It's been really great hearing. Well done, all of you and the entire team on the great success of BPA, and looking forward to seeing the roadmap down the line as well. Not only the agentic part, but also the actual the cool stuff with volume handling and all the pipelines actually generating all the data for us.
That's good. Thank you all for your time and for thinking about us again.
Always.
Thank you so much. Always.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.